Leader, I have a real life example of magnet and maggot culture. It just happened to me. The final step just happened to me. At the bank that I use for my business, I'm not going to use the name. I walked in one day and I had an appointment to see the banker. I sat down. I was 15 minutes early. 15 minutes after my scheduled appointment, the person I had set appointment with was still in a meeting with two other people, and I was close enough to see through the glass door and hear what they were talking about. And what they were talking about was not banking. The banking part was over. I'm 15 minutes into my appointment, and this person is still talking to the customer. Does not come out and say, I'll be right with you. Now I'm looking around, wondering, should I leave? Well, if I leave, it's going to take me another week and a half to get another appointment. I want to open my business account, my new business account. So here's what happened. 30 minutes after my appointment was supposed to start, the man walks out laughing and joking with the two people, sees me sitting there, and keeps talking to them. Then invites me in. I am irritated beyond belief. I get handled what I need handled, and as I'm sitting there and we're doing the final details, someone from outside the office we're in walks up to the glass, can see into the glass, looks at the guy who's helping me and says, "Hey, how you doing?" The guy gets up and goes outside during my appointment and starts talking with the individual. The individual, I can't fault them. The guy got up and went out to him. Didn't say, "Hey, I'm busy. I'll call you back or I'll see you later." When I was done, I was fuming mad. As I walked out, I said, "I'm never coming back to this branch again." And then I looked at two people behind the cashier stand, the people who I knew by name and knew me by name and treated me so well. And it's because of them. They were the magnet for me. Because of them, I decided, okay, call this guy a knucklehead and let's see what happens. So I come back in a week later and I am ready to start another account. This time I'm paired with somebody else, because if I had been paired with the same person, I would have walked back out. I'm sitting there, we get the account started, and the person behind the desk who's helping me this time says, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a culture doctor. I help organizations improve their culture." And he looks at me and says, "Tell me what our culture is like here." And I said, "Huh?" He said, "I'm the branch manager. Tell me what our culture's like." I said, "Well, since you asked." And I told him the whole story. And I told him, if it wasn't for those people out there behind the cashier windows, I would never come back here, because what happened that day could only happen because your culture rewards it. I find it hard to believe that I'm the only person that guy has ever done that to. He looked at me and said, "Thank you." I left. Now, it just so happens, remember that was the branch manager. It just so happens I had a problem with a deposit a few days ago, last week. I've been doing business with this bank for over 15 years. They decided, because I opened my new account, a deposit went in, and it was more than the deposit that went in the last time. So they held my deposit and sent me a message saying, "Hey, we're not going to deposit your money." And I said, "You must be smoking drugs." I spent 3 phone calls and 3 hours on the phone trying to figure out what was going on. They told me, "We sent you an email and you're supposed to respond." I said, "I didn't get an email. What email address did you use?" They told me an email address I hadn't used in 22 years. And I said, "I've been banking with you for almost 15 years. I've not used that email address since I don't know when. Why do you have it in my record?" "Because it's nowhere in my profile." "Oh, we don't know." Couldn't figure it out. 3 more phone calls. And finally, they get my email corrected. the right one. Then they send me the letter. I go, what do you need all this nonsense for? I go, this is stupid. You want me to prove I'm existing? I've been banking with you for over 15 years. So I go back into the branch and I go, hey, I need to talk to somebody. I set the appointment. I go back in and it's not the guy, because if it was the same guy, I would have said no. I was hoping to get the branch manager. I got somebody else and he was really sharp. And he's sitting there and he's talking to me on the phone. And the people on the phone who are holding my money are, well, the system flagged it because it was more money than the last deposit and it's the second deposit. And the guy's sitting there going, but ma'am, this is somebody we've been doing business with. The branch manager actually walks by, hears about it, walks in. He's listening to the whole thing. He says, hang on, let me go see if I can make a phone call. He goes to try to make a phone call. Nothing happened. They couldn't get anything done. Come back in. I'm sorry. He's going to have to fill out the paperwork. They hang up. I look at the branch manager and the guy helping me and I said, you have a maggot culture in your organization. Let me tell you what I mean by that. All that process they're doing over there is getting in the way of the relationships right here. You know me and you know for a fact who I am and you know I'm valid. And this is allowed to go on unchecked. I finally looked at the guy who was helping me and I said, now you're new. This is the first time I've seen you here. What happened to the other guy that helped me last time? He said, he's not working here anymore. I went, good. So here's what you have. It's a maggot culture with people trying to be magnet in the branch. And the maggot part of the culture overrides the ability to be magnet. What should they do? I can tell you exactly what they should do. Somebody should make a big enough stink somewhere. Somebody should go back to headquarters or somebody and say, this should not be happening to people who are our long-standing customers. Those folks in headquarters who are doing this, if something is going wrong, if there's an issue, they should contact the branch first, where the people do business, rather than just making arbitrary decisions like that. What is your organization like?